It's against a fellow Mexican-American and Chris Arreola. I know you're focused on your fight at hand, but we had a chance to speak to Canelo this past Monday, and he said that he wouldn't be willing to fight Sudo Ramirez if he beats Bivol or Benavidez because they're his countrymen, they're Mexican. How do you take that, and where do you stand in terms of giving the fans those kind of fights, like, you know, talking about Morales versus Barreras? They were Mexican, but they always gave us great fights, you know? What do you stand on that?
Because fighting a Mexican and a Mexican is hard because we know these Mexicans are not going to give up, you know? So fighting two Mexicans, best believe there's going to be a war. There's going to be an all-action fight. We all take hits and we all receive them good, you know? And we could take punches, so that's why it goes back and forth, and that's how it was with me and Chris Arreola. It was going back and forth, even though I got hurt, but the Mexican in me made me get back up and win the fight, so it's hard.
You know, Canelo is the face of boxing. Is he in his right to say that, to approach things that way at towards the, it looks like this is the end of his career, like he's getting closer towards the end. Is he in his,
Canelo?
Yeah, is he right to approach the game like that, not wanting to fight a fellow
he
countryman?
can fight whoever he wants, you know? He's the main guy. You know, he's a champion. I feel he's already on that level where he already proved so much that he doesn't even need to prove anything to anybody. I think he just wants to get the big fights, and I'm pretty sure if he fights Bivol again, I think he knows that he'll beat him.
Those are the words of Andy Ruiz as he was asked about Canelo Alvarez stating that he will not fight Mexicans, or another Mexican rather. And you heard Andy go on this spiel of all the Mexican fighters, they're hard, they're tough, and, you know, get back up, the Mexican in me, and this, that, and the other, you know. And then I guess they had to ask him again, like, no, that's not what we asked you. We asked you, what do you think about Canelo? You know, is he right to say that? And he's like, oh, he can fight whoever he wants. I just think he's proved so much. You know, I thank God for him. Let me counterpunch. Barrera, Morales, 1, 2, 3. Barrera, Marquez. De La Hoya, Chavez, 1 and 2. De La Hoya, Miguel Angel Gonzalez. De La Hoya, Vargas. Yori Boy Campos, Tony Ayala. I mean, so many different types, styles of fights that we have. Johnny Tapia, Danny Romero. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And you know something? Those fighters wouldn't be anything without each other. You know, and for Canelo saying that, he's just saying, I don't want to fight other Mexicans. I think that's, you know, for everyone, okay? And we can use what Andy said. That's why I wanted to talk about what Andy said at the very beginning. People have in their right, especially the Canelo haters or the Canelo doubters, they have every right to say, you know what, Canelo's ducking. I used to look at it like, nah, he ain't ducking. You know what I mean? He's fighting Bivol. What happened? He lost to Bivol. You know, he could have fought Benavidez. He could have fought Errol Spence, which Errol Spence is not a Mexican fighter at all or whatever. But, of course, Jamaican man. But the underlying problem with Canelo is now it's like, why wouldn't you fight another Mexican and you fought Mexicans before? Counterpunch. See, it would be different if Canelo never fought in Mexican fighters before. It would be different if he, you know, if he just didn't believe in that. That's something like, I don't want to beat up my Mexican brother. I don't want that. I don't want to fight. Because someone else did that. Wasn't it Sergey Kovalev that said he didn't want to fight another Russian or something like that? I believe so. I could be wrong, but just off the top of my dome, I think he said he wouldn't want to fight another Russian fighter. So, you know, that's one thing. However, with Canelo, though, you got a guy like Benavidez, you know, that's fast, tall, and he's probably better than guys like Smith. However, Smith is a bad mother sucker. He's a hard, heavy puncher. I would love to see Smith versus Benavidez, but there's the problem. We don't have enough common ground fighters, mutual fighters that fought everybody. We have Canelo fighting Bivol. You know, I'm glad we got Zurdo Ramirez, but even if Ramirez beats him, he doesn't want to fight him. You know, but he got beat by Bivol, so a lot of people, by their own standards of the triangle theory, they wouldn't believe that he would beat Zurdo Ramirez anyway, so I don't think people would push for that. But for just him saying that, that takes away a lot of possible potential great fights. And it shows that Canelo maybe wants to fight guys just because it's an easier fight not to fight Mexicans. You know, because I remember he, you know, beat the shit out of Alfredo Angulo for a long time until they stopped it. And it was bad because he didn't want it to be stopped because he's used to taking an ass beating, you know. And I think that was actually after Lara beat him. Because, you know, Lara broke his orbital bone or something like that. Then Canelo beat him. It was around this same time frame, right, where those guys were fighting. But nonetheless, you know, Canelo saying, I don't want to fight Mexican fighters, that just takes a lot off the plate, but it gives people speculation, you know, to say that you're hating. But you know what, though? Here's the thing. I don't think Canelo gives a shit. I think Canelo is probably, you know, by far close to the mentality of Floyd. You know, Floyd, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. He doesn't care. You know, I don't think that, you know, Canelo cared. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I fought a lot of fighters. Who they fucking fought. You know, and then, you know, he can back himself up with that argument because there is not enough fighters fighting each other to maintain or to argue that their legacy is worth anything compared to all the other legends of yesteryear. You know, and then that's the bad thing. But back to Andy. Andy let the cat out of the bag saying because Mexican fighters are tougher. And then when you put a Mexican versus a Mexican, you're going to see which one has the most machismo. So with the ones with the most machismo, you're going to see which one gets it and they're going to beat the shit out of each other. Look at Barrera Morales, just won. Just that first fight was just hell. I could watch that fight and I could see my hair stick up on the back of my neck and my arms watching that fight. Because it was so much back and forth action. And right when you thought Morales was going to just take over Barrera comes back. And it's just crazy. And it's just like, yo, imagine, you know, other Mexican fighters. And this is what makes it bad. Okay, this is what makes it bad and dangerous for boxing, what Canelo's doing. Just imagine every other Mexican did the same shit. I don't want to fight another Mexican. No quiero pelea con un luchador de mexicano. What the hell? You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, that is the fighter that's the top rank. He's the champ. So you don't want to fight the champ. What you going to do? Go to another weight class to fight a black guy or a white guy or an Asian guy? You know what I mean? It just sits wrong with me because a lot of people, based on the standards or the formation of what people follow, you know, everybody followed Floyd with that dumb shit with the I ain't going to let the O go, so I ain't going to do no more bars. You know, so I look at that as, what if everybody decided to do what Canelo did? Man, Canelo didn't fight him. I'm Mexican. I don't want to fight another Mexican fighter. He didn't do it, so why should I do it? You know what I mean? Seriously. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, because it's one of those things where I feel that Canelo is, you know, setting the wrong example for the future Mexican fighter that comes out of Mexico. You're going to have another Mexican fighter. Either he's Mexican American or Chicano or whatever. He's going to be ready to take what you got and give back some of his own. That's what boxing is about. This ain't about a sport that you want to make the most money and take the less risk. That's not what the sport's about. The sport is a school of hard knocks, not soft knocks. You know, not cushion knocks. You know, hard knocks. So when we know that, we have to also understand and keep in mind that people want to see the best fights, the best, and you want to know that you were the best fighter, not getting the game and fight a couple fights, make a couple million, get the fuck out, never challenge yourself. That you will never be considered, and you should never be considered with the fighters of yesteryear. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Andy Ruiz defending Canelo Alvarez on him not wanting to fight other Mexican fighters. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace!